Hello, and welcome back to the Dungeons & Dragons Podcast UK. My name is Yasmin, and I will be the DM.
Hi, my name's Colin, and I play Cuin de Greymont, a paladin from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Spencer. I play Caddo Chasseur, a cleric also from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Brian, and I play Ogvar Shawfoot, a ranger from Kessig.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I play Elora Greyvale, a sorcerer from Nephalia. With bells in the belfry cordially chiming their midday medley, our companions find themselves devoid of one clergyman and his dog. After a slight change of plans, Ogvar, Cuin, Esther and Elora acquainted themselves with Ardrum's apothecary. It was a stunning little shop, stocked full of supplies, and, blessed with the benefit of a very amiable vendor, the incomplete team were incredibly impressed. Elora inquired the likely residential location for Arthur Axum, the seemingly amoral aristocrat, and the central target of our adventurers as they push on in their pursuit of justice. Bidding the apothecary adieu, the four friends find themselves back out on the streets of Selhoff once more. Episode 75, Housing Hostilities.
Yep, so you turn around and you leave the shop.
Hi!
Goodbye!
Bye!
Oh,
And shuts the door behind her.
he was a very nice
Yeah.
chap, wasn't he?
Okay, so
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he seemed really, really pleasant. That's a really nice shop he's got there.
Yes, I agree. Do find some shopkeepers can be quite prickly.
Well, Kieran would know about that.
Yes, that's what I was maybe.
His experience with shopkeepers is not always the best.
No, not really.
Although I don't know why, because
He's a very pleasant man.
he is, yeah. So
Yes,
people can be a bit vicious sometimes, can't they?
Maybe it's the armour and the big armoury on the back.
Yeah.
yes, but surely that would make them think twice.
Well,
well, yes, it might make them think twice about selling to you, yes, dearie.
So, what Ogvar would like to do now we're outside, he would like to go, Murdoch, if you could use your assistance, would you mind doing a few circuits of the nearby area, see if you can see a cleric chasing a dog?
Pickle!
You've got him.
And he takes flight, and you see him, he flaps hard as he gains altitude, and then as you watch, he begins to coast around on what little thermals there are above the city. And you see him, he actually goes quite far away, and he does take, he looks like he's going to take like almost a full lap of the city at least.
He's coming along quite
so yeah,
well now, isn't
off
he?
Murdoch goes.
I think you've done quite well with him, personally.
There's still room for improvement, I think, but I'm very pleased.
Actually, now you come to mention it, Elora's going to look on her side. She's just going to look into the top of the pouch. Has Rowan returned to his roost, or is he still flitting off, tracking her somewhere?
Yeah, Rowan is in his little pouch. He's returned at some point. You just haven't noticed him return. And yeah, he's back in his little roost. He's hung upside down, sulking.
Right. Okay. Kieran,
Yes?
do you think? Well, all of you really. Do you think it's worth? I think it's worth just taking a wander up to the Noble District. Why don't we just? I mean, I know Caddo's not with us, so. But just while he's off doing whatever he's doing, why don't we take a bit of a recce at this house, this mansion? We could at least find the name of it. Maybe just have a look at how the land lies, how it's situated maybe. It's just something we haven't had a chance to talk or plan. We'll probably do that later tonight or something, but I just wondered while we were out wandering if it was worth, well, just going out and doing a quick recce, so to speak.
I think that's a very good idea. I think, in fact, with Caddo not being in the group, if we are spotted, then he's an unknown face in the future.
That's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Yes, that's...
But I mean, we could try and do it sort of like, let's not be too obvious about it, but just have a look,
Yes, that's not a good idea. We'll have a good recce, and
I mean, we could scope out whether it's got, is it walled? Has it got gates? Is there guards? Does it have a chimney? I don't know. Just, it's something to go back with, so that when we do sit down and think about how we might approach this, we've got some information already to hand, maybe.
yes, sir. I'm up for that.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so would we kind of know? Would the noble district be on one of the higher? Would there be banners flying that we can see? I mean, I presume that we probably couldn't see the banners unless everything was up on a hill.
Yeah, so the way Selhoff is designed, if you remember, I'll just give you a quick refresh, is basically the entire city is built into a valley, into a V-shaped valley. So at the very harbour area, you've got the kind of harbour where it flattens and it goes to the sea. But as you go from the sea up the city, the sides become steeper as it goes up and up and up, and the city walls actually kind of curve around it, and the track which you came in on actually drops down and goes down the side of the valley to get to the front, to the
Down by the docks.
North
Oh,
Gate.
right, yeah. Oh, okay, right.
No. To get to the
Yeah.
North Gate, you actually have to come over the top and drop
Yeah.
down and actually go down kind of the side
Sure.
of the valley
Okay.
on a flat track to get to the North Gate. So as you came down, you would see on your right hand side, you'd have these, at the very top of the valley, there would be these, there were these very big houses, big mansions with tall flying banners, and as you get down the city, it kind of almost cascades down. The houses get smaller and dingier. Where the guild is, the guild and the shopping district, there's this kind of nicer shopping district. It's kind of in the middle. It's kind of in the middle area. It's around kind of where the North Gate runs. It's in the middle. And then down at the bottom you have the harbour and this kind of slummy area. So yeah, so you'd easily be able to take, and especially with the information that you got at Ardrum's apothecary, look for the biggest house. That is going to be the City Lord's house. But yes, you would probably be able to see the banners as well. You would see the banners of multiple different houses, and obviously the very recognisable banner of House Axon. Yes.
When we came down into Selhoff, as we were coming down through the valley, entering towards the North Gate, did you say?
Yes.
Laura did do a check back then to see what she could see, and she could see banners flying. Would she then, although she didn't recognise the seal on the back of the envelope when she was in the basement room, the cellar room?
Oh yeah, you would.
Would she then?
Yeah, definitely.
Would she then make the connection between the banners that she saw and the seal on? So she would have a rough idea of where she was then going.
Yes, definitely. Plus, you've been told that it is literally the biggest house.
All right.
So.
Right. Okay. So I reckon we should head. If you remember when we came in, guys. Obviously, everything's we're in a bit of a valley here. Obviously, it's come down to the docks. But if we make our way back out the way we came in, the hillside's quite steep because we can see that from here above all the buildings. I noticed some banners when I came in, and I now have made that connection between a banner I saw and this seal. I now kind of remember that, whereas I didn't before. I think if we make our way back up that way, we'll be able to spot the largest house, and we should be able to match the banner up, flying by it, with the seal.
Yes, yes. There'll be many banners on the noble houses, but yes, that will be a specific one. Plus, you've got the fact that it'll be the biggest. So,
Yeah.
but I suppose we could be able to recce further away if we know exactly which one it is, rather than walk up and go, oh, this is the biggest, this must be it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think let's see what information we can get from that. So let's head up there. We've got a few hours. Let's go and head up there and have a look.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Is that good with you, Esther?
Oh, yes, dearie, might have to slow down. My knees aren't what they used to be, but yes,
Esther?
definitely.
Can you show me your hands, please? Can you show me the backs of your hands?
Yes. So Esther holds both of her hands out. So you can see
Esther, those are cut and blooded from where you hit that crate. Kieran, do you think you could maybe do a little bit of healing on Esther?
Well,
Because they look very sore.
I could place my hands on them. How much damage did you do to her hands?
They sting a bit, dearie, but I've had worse.
No, yes, how much did you do any damage to them, or shall I just use one?
They are very much. Although she's been hitting them, she's fairly tough. They are quite literally just surface scratches. They are just, they just look bloody.
It's all right. Because I've got lay on hands, my own personal. If I use 1 point, would that heal them, or would I have to?
Yeah, how many?
I have 7 a day. 7 points per day.
Using at least 1 point would start closing the cuts
So
off,
say I gave her 3. Would that cover that?
Okay, so you're gonna. So okay, I can't give you the exact number because that'd be very.
But what I mean is, we didn't know how much damage it was not stated.
Just pick a number to.
You don't need to use your full amount.
Okay.
But just a number. You just throw a number out there.
I'm going to use 4.
Okay, 2 for each hand.
Yep.
There we go. Nice. So her hands are still held out in front of her. How are you doing?
I'm just going to take them either side, and then I'm going to go.
Yep.
Here you go. Here's a bit of healing for you. You've done it to me many a time, so here you go. And I'm just going to hold them in my hand, close my eyes, and I'm going to go. Is that any better?
Okay, so for Ogvar and Alora, who've got their eyes open and who are staring at Esther's hands, as you grab her hands and hold her hands and begin to kind of lay your hands on and give this healing to her, you see that these cuts across, and it is cuts across mainly like the first 2 knuckles. You see them actually begin to almost like there's this faint golden light which suffuses the edges of each cut, and it almost begins to knit them back together. And when you open your eyes back up, you can see that the cuts have closed on her knuckles, but they are very. You can see where the cuts once were. They're very pink, but they're no longer open and bleeding. They're just pink lines where they were. So yeah, you've closed up the cuts, and they look a lot better. And it's just some dried blood flaked on her hands now.
There you go. I'm sorry I'm not a cleric, but hopefully that will make your hands feel better.
No, dearie. No, dearie. Thank you, dearie. That's ever so sweet of you.
No problem.
Truly appreciated.
Right. Well, I think that's everybody as happy as they can be at the moment. So we'll head on up back towards the Selhof city gates and the way we entered in to where the houses are on the hillsides.
Yeah. Okay, so you make your way through the city, and you work your way up. So you're kind of in the middle area to start off with. So you work your way up through the city, you go past the cathedral, and you enter into the noble district. And it's a very stark contrast. The streets here are immaculately clean. There's hardly any foot traffic. You can see there's quite a few patrols of guards who give you quite suspicious looks as they go past. And these houses, they're very big, and you start to notice the houses get spaced further and further apart. They start to have more and more gardens. They begin to have these big kind of walls or wrought iron fences with big kind of ostentatious gates. And as you head further and further up the city, you notice that just generally everything becomes a bit more open plan, a bit more spacious, more lavish. Yeah, it just looks more. It's a lot emptier though as well, a lot more quiet as well. You haven't got this same amount of foot traffic. You've got maybe the odd kind of liveried servant running around, but in terms of adventurers or people on jobs or common people walking around, you don't have many at all. Basically none.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different scenery up here, isn't it? It's quite.
Well, it's definitely more affluent, but then I guess you'd expect that, wouldn't you?
Oh yes. Especially considering the residents.
Yes, in Gavany, there's just as many rich people, but there's always people around, as there was in Junel.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a gated community, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, there was still more footfall than actually here. I suppose they would have been doing services.
Well, I guess Selhof's a bigger city, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe, but it's not as big as Gavany, and there's plenty of footfall there. I'd always see people walking past the estate.
No, I suppose. Okay, so can anybody? Which one's the biggest one? Which one's the biggest house? Can you see it? I'm just looking, trying to figure out which one it is.
Oh.
Make me a wisdom check.
All of us?
Yeah, sure, all of you. Yeah, make me a wisdom check.
Oh. 18 minus 1, that's a 17 from Allura.
17, okay.
19 for Ogvar.
That's a 17 plus 1.
19, 17.
Wow.
I've got an 18.
Ooh, fancy. Okay. So, yeah, you're all able to pretty much tell that as you kind of enter this more noble area and you go up, the houses are getting bigger the further you go up. So it's a very easy kind of guess to make that if you went all the way to kind of the top of the city, you would find the Axum house. And also, obviously, looking at the banners in the air, you can see the Axum banner ahead of you.
Can we tell much about the features of the house from this distance, or would we need to get closer? I.e., does it have a single gate, double gate? Does it have gates in the walls? Can we tell if there is a guardhouse outside? Are there guards, perhaps, posted outside the gates? I suppose other things that Allura would be looking for would be, are there chimneys on the house? Is it anything about any features in the house? Would we have to get closer, or can we tell anything from this distance?
Yeah, you'd be able to tell at least something from this distance. Make me a spot check, everyone.
Okay.
Elora, if you're particularly looking for gates and stuff like that, you can make me a search check instead, whichever's higher.
Oh, well, I've just rolled, so do you want me to use that roll?
Yeah, but obviously add whichever modifier is higher out of spot or search.
Ah, right, okay. Oh, okay. Whichever's higher, yeah. Okay, that's a 20 all in.
20 all in, okay.
23 all in for a spot check.
Excellent.
23?
24.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Are you rolling on these new dice that I made?
Wow.
I'm rolling on my new dice.
Yay! No, they're not weighted.
Wow, okay.
I made sure they weren't.
Okay. So, you're all pretty, you're very keyed in, you're very focused on the Axum household. Obviously, it's what you're here to kind of scout out, take a look at. And as you kind of approach, you can see that you're kind of walking up a central street, and these houses are off to the side. They're kind of branching off, almost kind of like a just trying to think, like a bit like a tree, I guess. Like you've got the one central trunk, and then you've got the boughs branching off. The houses are branching off, and as you get towards the top, the properties there are less properties. They occupy more space until you get to the very top, the one ahead of you, which is very clearly the Axum house. And looking at it, you are able to see that it is a sprawling property compared to the sorry, you are able to see that it is a sprawling property compared to the houses near it, and even compared to.
Is it actually a mansion?
Yes, it is. It is a mansion, and if I can find the document I need, where is it? It's here. And looking at the house itself, it's very opulent. It's very well maintained, manicured lawns. But this house is 3 stories high. You have your ground floor, first floor and second floor. Along the top of it there are castellations and they've got flying buttresses up the side of the house as well. So it looks very very castle-like in a way. You see at the very top kind of floors they've got these very kind of narrow, thin slit windows, like arches windows like you'd see on a medieval castle. And on the roof you can see that there are a couple of protruding
Sticking out.
protruding chimneys from the top.
Is that when you say a couple? Is that
but
2?
There's a couple. So there's 4 maybe. You say there's maybe 4. You can't tell. You can't see like the very back of the house.
Okay. 4-ish.
But anything which is on the top of the house, anything which may be on the top, you can't see because of these castellations and the angle. So you're not really sure. You can just about see these chimneys poking up. The actual property itself, it's set in quite expansive gardens, and around the edge as you're approaching you can see there is what looks to be a solid wall which is about 5 foot high, and then there is a further 5 foot of wrought iron fencing with the spikes on the top going around the property. Ahead of you there is a large set of gates, and they lead onto a kind of like a cobble drive. And as all of you kind of stood here, you're slowly approaching. Out of one of these offshoots, out of one of these houses to the side, there are kind of there are guards patrolling the area. They're looking very shifty at you. They've obviously clocked you, and they're like, you shouldn't be here. But as you begin to kind of advance further up, to your right, around the edge of this wall, 2 guards round. They look at you, and one of them says, "Oi, what do you think you're doing here?"
Laura looks over her shoulder and then looks back at them and says, sorry, are you talking to us?
Who else am I talking to?
Well, I don't know. We just I'm sorry, have we wandered somewhere that we're not supposed to be? We're new here.
Does it look like you're supposed to be here?
Ogvar will point at Q and go, he looks like he's supposed to be here.
Yes, I was just showing him the noble area and pointing out the different flags and what they mean and all that stuff. I'm Kieran de Greymont of Gavany. You might know my father. He's quite well known there, quite well up.
The one, there's the other one, the one which hasn't been speaking. He's a little shorter than the other guy. He looks you up and down, Kieran. Gives you a bit of a sneer. Never heard of him. Can't say I care to learn either.
Oh, I see, one of those. I don't know if I'd say, that you're not being very polite. We were just having a look and I was explaining some things to my friends. And you're...
Well, you see, me not being very polite would be me sticking you with this rapier.
What,
Yeah,
with that
you catch
knitting
me?
needle? Well, I don't know what you'll do with that. I'd be very careful.
I can show you if you want.
It wouldn't be wise, because I'd have to respond, shall I say, in kind.
That's quite aggressive. I mean, we haven't actually done anything wrong. If we're not supposed to be here, we can leave. We're sorry. Didn't mean to cause any offence, but there's no need to be aggressive.
Well, I suggest you hot-foot it, Missy. Besides, we're not being very aggressive, are we?
Well, you...
You know.
Well, I found that a little bit threatening, but okay. I can go.
Well, that's good then.
Oh.
Yeah, I suggest you take your tourism elsewhere.
Yeah, Alora is...
And as for you, big man, your father's name doesn't mean anything here. This is Lord Axum's city. And quite frankly, I don't care.
Who? Lord Axim? What? Wax him? Does he? Wax him? Right? Is that so? Lord Wax him? Is that correct? I've never heard of Lord Wax him before.
As you are chattering away, the shorter one of the two guards draws his rapier and very deliberately pokes it against your chest, Kieran. I suggest you turn around and leave.
I'm sorry, but I don't think my chainmail needs knitting at the moment. What do you call that? A knitting needle? A rapier? Is that
I
some
call
kind
that...
of... What is it?
I call that obstruction of justice. Now, if you don't want to find yourself clapped in irons, I suggest you move on.
May I ask? May I ask? Are you in charge
No.
here? Who are you?
Well,
How do I know that you're meant to be here?
you blind? Can't you see my
I
uniform?
don't know, what...
Part of the city guard,
Oh, that's
love.
city guard uniform. Oh, okay. Well, who are you? Have you got a boss?
That is none of your business. I suggest you clear off. And his rapier trails from Kieran's chest to yours.
As I said, very threatening. That's fine. We'll leave. I didn't come here for trouble. We just... Oh, okay, we'll leave. I'm going to motion to Kieran. I'll just use my eyes to sort of like dart my eyes to the one side as if to say, come on, let's go.
Are you sure? Right. Okay, I suppose we better leave. But, do you mind a slight... How do I put this? Suggestion?
The guard remains silent, and both of them have got these kind of ugly sneers twisted onto their ugly faces. And they both kind of look at you. They look at you with like utter disdain.
Are they the only two guards that we can see?
Yeah, you have seen other guards patrolling the area, but these two have, you've come across their path.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, if you're going to patrol, I'd get yourself a decent weapon, rather than those little knitting needle things. This is what you want.
Clear out now.
This is what you want. This is what you call a sword. And I'm going to just one-handed take my great sword
Oh dear.
and go, look, see? It's.
Are you threatening us?
No, I'm just showing you
threatening
what a
us?
sword looks like. This is what a sword looks like. And then that to me, I said, this is a two-hand. It's, 6 foot tall.
Are they both focused on queuing, facing queuing, dead on?
They're both facing the three of you. They're both
Right.
stood
Well,
there.
while the focus in front of me is on queuing, can I actually see? Can I make out on the front gate what kind of security the front gate might have? Is there a name plaque on it? Is there? Is the gate? What kind of? Is it double gates? Is it a single gate? Is it? Is there any particular?
What did you roll on your? What did you roll on
It
your
was
search?
a 20, and not a nat
Yeah.
20.
You can see that these gates are 2 10-foot tall wrought iron double gates.
Right. Is there any obvious way in which they close? Has it got like a? I suppose it's just got a latch on it. I suppose it. Do they? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
They clearly swing open and swing closed, and they are clearly manned as
Okay.
well. There are 2 guards stood there on the inside.
Okay. Fine. Can I make out from where I'm stood if whether or not there is like a guard hut inside the gates to the left or the right from where I'm standing?
You can't see, but the walls are 5 foot high, so you can't see much beyond the opening of the
Okay,
gate.
fine.
Okay. I think we best move on.
Okay. And is there any? And one last question before Alora turns round. She's going. Well, actually, she's going to look round either side. Are there bushes and stuff to the sides of the path they're on up to the gate or round the edge of the actual wall? Is there any garden areas? No.
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Alora's going to eyeball the others and again just motion ahead, kind of let's go fashion. She's going to turn around and she'll just say, "Okay, guys, all right, look, we're going. We're sorry, we're in the wrong place. We'll just leave." And she's going to start walking away.
Yeah, okay. You hear some rather disparaging comments from the 2 guards behind, and they're very clearly like, having a bit of a, this is the excitement for the day. As you turn around and leave.
Okay, we'll wander
Okay.
back down towards the town. I think.
I'll put my great sword back away. Yeah. I'll just turn to Ogver and Alora and say, I rather feel that they're more used to be outnumbering everybody. I reckon I could have actually taken those 2 on barehanded, but if that's the general way that the town guard are, this place needs sorting out. Because those wouldn't even appear to be good enough for a footman, let alone a guard.
I don't know for sure, but I kind of. She's saying this as they're slowly walking back down towards the city. I kind of get the feeling that a lot of these guards are just. They're roughly employed. They don't seem to be. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's just an initial impression. They're a bit. They're not very professional. They're quite rude.
I wouldn't say they're from a long line of guard training.
No, but something tells me that we might need to get hold of some uniforms.
Yeah, well, possibly, but I could always, if you want, I'll go back and grab those 2 and bang their heads together. But I'd say that they're bully boys. I'd say that it's not so much quality in this town guard as in quantity.
Well, they might not want to meet us in a dark alley when they're off duty. I'd remember those faces. Perhaps we should track them down in a pub.
Can Ogvar signal for Murdoch to come back to him? and find out what's been going on.
Yeah, so how are you signalling Murdoch?
With a whistle.
Yeah,
Fingers,
okay.
finger in the mouth, get a nice high pitch one.
Yeah, okay, so you release this high-pitched whistle. And you don't really get much of a response as you walk back down the hill. You maybe try again a couple more times, and after about 5 minutes, Murdoch, you eventually catch sight of Murdoch coming back towards you. He drops down and perches on your... I'm assuming you're probably going to stretch out your arm to catch him. Yeah, he perches on your arm.
Hello, Murdoch. Did you find our friend?
Running?
Still running. Oh, he's quite a feat of athleticism.
Well, it's taken us a while to walk uptown to have a look at Axum's place.
Well, I suppose he has got quite a few breakfasts to wear off, hasn't he?
Well, he does seem to always be eating something, doesn't he?
Okay, as long as he's okay. He's not in any trouble. Okay, that's good. And he's with Pickle, or is he still chasing Pickle?
Where's
Oh, that's good. They've got each other. That's a main thing.
As we're sort of gathered, I take it we're kind of back in the city streets now. We've come back down from there.
Yeah.
We turn round to Esther and say to her,
Yeah.
Esther, okay, so...
Yes, do we?
Okay, so we now know where Axum's mansion is. We have a rough idea of, obviously, what it looks like, the layout, and I know we haven't sat down and sort of discussed this any further, and Caddo's still missing. I don't know where he's gone. But I have got an idea. I'm thinking, well, we could do with a way of getting into the mansion, really, to see how it's laid out. We also I'm thinking it might not be a bad idea to go to the town hall and see if there are any plans available, sort of in the public domain that we can look at. Maybe we can get a feel for how this place is laid out, possibly. What do you think?
Oh, well, it might be an attempt, I suppose, but I wouldn't have thought... Well, going off of how Junau runs, there isn't so much of a town hall as the church tends to carry the important documents. So, if the power is being taken from the church by Axum, as it's been suggested, I'm not sure whether those plans would be in existence in the church, so to speak.
It's quite a good point.
It's worth a try, but I think... I mean, what was it Axum's... not Axum, sorry. What was it Gerhart said? Oh, dearie me, my memory's quite going.
Did you say that
something...
we had to go to the arena?
Yes! Oh, dearie, you are quite the brilliant one, aren't you? Yes, I do believe that Gerhart said too that we might find some more information underground.
Well,
it's very possible all sorts of forged documents exist and all sorts.
I have no doubt. I have no
doubt.
doubt of that, Esther. I did actually make some inquiries about something myself, and I've got. Did she write it on a piece of paper? Her name, Giz. Was it on a piece of paper, or did she just tell me her name?
She just told you her name.
I did happen to speak to somebody who, let's just say they're not quite kosher. There was something that I've...
Well, that's most people.
Yeah, but there was something I was after and wondered whether they could help me with it. And they said that they could, but obviously it was clearly very underhand and not above board. So I did take them up on their offer initially, but she did say her name was Giz, and if I needed anything, to go back and speak to her.
Well, that sounds like something we can do this evening. So obviously, we'd have to wait for the ladder maintenance to start.
Well, yeah, and find our cleric. Don't know where he's gone.
Well, Murdoch seems to think he's okay at the moment. He seems to be off on a bit of a whirlwind adventure on his own at the moment. But he's quite all right, and he's with Pickle.
Oh, Okay, well, no doubt we'll find out what all that was about later, but,
Yes, do you reckon we should go down where we came out, rather than the way we went last time?
Oh, that's a good idea.
oh yeah, I'm not going all the way down at the back of the guild. We'll go back to the docks and go that way, I reckon.
Yeah, and I'll just have a quick look. We could also. Are we going to have a look for the rat? Where we're at?
Oh, well, that's another problem altogether. I mean, it could be that the apothecary has got something. I mean, what would you normally do with a rat? You put it in a trap or poison it or something.
Oh yes, I mean,
But there's no guarantees that that'll kill it.
Well, we don't know exactly what we're dealing with as of yet.
Well, no. It would be good to actually clap eyes on the thing to start with and find out what we are dealing with.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we're jumping to assumptions of what it is because of the tracks, but we don't really know, do we?
No, but whatever it is, we may be able to get information from it.
So it all depends on whether we set up shop to recce the door, the old cellar, or go straight down the arena.
Well, we've clearly got a lot to do and a lot to discuss, but you know what? It depends on what your priority wants to be, doesn't it? Do we want to try and? Well, is it even? The thing is it even going to show itself during the day? How do you know? We don't know what it looks like.
Well, you can't. Well, it ain't till night that you can get to the arena.
That's very true.
You know, so we can either go down and have a quick chat and find out what we can down there, and then come back and see now we'll be by the warehouse. Just go and have a little poke around then, I suppose.
Okay, so what do you suggest we do for now then? Do we go back to the guild?
Well, yeah, go back to the guild and have a bit of food.
Okay. Alora's going to turn around and nod to the others, and she's going to strike off in the direction of the guild. And when we get back to the guild, you guys go on into there. I just need to speak to somebody on the front desk for something.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want just to get you some food? It's probably
Just
the spit road's the same as yesterday.
I just need a drink. I need to kind of get over this morning's antics. That's really thrown me. I think it's thrown all of us. Just get me an ale or something,
Okay.
and I'll be in a minute.
No problem. It's my round.
Oh, Shirley, have a sin for me.
Okay, it's all on the tap.
Oh, okay.
Right, as they disappear, Alora, she's going to turn round and look on the job board, on the contracts board.
Yeah.
Is that also a board for
Okay.
employment?
For what, sorry?
Like it's a general board for employment for all sorts of things, contracts and other things.
So when you say employment, do you mean like people actually looking for permanent jobs in the city?
Yeah. Okay. Alora's idea here is that she wants to have a look on the job board because it occurs to her that one of the ways in which it might be useful to get some access to Axum, or whether to recce the house or actually to get beyond the gates, would be really useful if one of the things she thinks that she might better do is see if there are any jobs available. I mean, he must have quite a large staff for such a big mansion. It's just an offhand chance, but she's thinking if she looks on the board, she may find something on the board which may involve some employment, which might get somebody in through the gates and into the house to get an idea of the layout of the place, or how well staffed
Yeah,
it is,
okay.
or protected it is.
Okay, so you look on the board, and as you look, you can see that this is very clearly just quests from the guild.
Right.
So requests that have been put into the guild.
Right.
And you cannot see anything which looks like it might have originated from a noble house. You can see certain requests which you look at them and you think, maybe, but But when you look at who's requested it, it's usually an independent person. It has no connection to a noble house. There's no seal on it. This isn't like the Ballantine request where there was a seal on and an official request. There are some which look like they could be, like for example, linen washing wanted. But then you look at it and you think, well, it could be for, the quantity. It's like, it could be for, a restaurant, or it could be for a seamstress. There's no real indication as to who this is for.
Okay, she's going to turn away from the board and go over to the main reception desk for the guild. Is there somebody behind the desk?
Yes, there is. There's this very matronly woman who is looking after Arvis.
Hi, I'm staying here at the guild. We've not been in the city that long. My name's Alora. I was thinking it might be here for a little while, and it might be useful to get some extra income. I wondered if you could tell me where would I go if I wanted to look for employment? Is there somewhere that advertises for employment, or is it a kind of people hear it on the grapevine kind of thing?
Well, to be honest with you, love, it's really, I suppose, about who you know. It's, we don't have anything like that up in the guild. We deal solely with requests from independent people. We're not a job agency. There isn't really. It's, you might see somewhere advertising in the window. So, if you were looking for a permanent job, then I'd suggest you go and have a route round town, and you might be able to find something.
All right, no,
but there's.
Thank you. That's fine. It was just an offhand comment. In case I decide to stick around. That's fine. Thank you very, very much for your help anyway. And she's just going to smile, bow her head slightly, and she's going to turn around and walk away into the main room, into the main tavern part of the guild where her friends would be.
Okay, so you walk into the main tavern room. I'm assuming you go find the rest. They've probably ordered you an ale or a beer, I'm assuming. You see Esther sat there nursing a Shirley Avison. And yeah, it's, the guild is fairly bustling, fairly lively. And it isn't that long when you've sat down before a very out-of-breath cleric, accompanied by an even more out-of-breath dog, appear in the doorway and make their way over to sit down with you.
Blimey, where have you been?
In the absence of their clerical companion, our heroes take a hasty hike uptown where the most affluent accommodations are located. The Lord's ill-gotten gains were easy to pinpoint, and as they arrive near to the gates, the team tackle a rather terse conversation with some very gritty guards. Taking a sneaky snoop by surveying the basic setup and security, it is obvious that gaining access to Axum's picturesque pile will certainly present its problems. Wanting to avoid further attention or aggravation, they smartly retreat back to the bar at the guild, where they settle into some seats just as Caddo puts in a somewhat tardy appearance.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Having you as a listener means everything to us. So, whichever streaming service you choose to listen to us with, please give us a like, subscribe and follow. We would love for you to join us on our Facebook or Twitter page, where you can catch up with all of our latest news. While you're waiting for the next episode of Secrets of the Silver City, why not pop over to our website, where you can read all of the information about this campaign, from backstories to setting. All of the links are in the bio of this episode. Join us again next week for the next instalment. Thank you for listening.